Good. Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to this wonderful space, the Muse Performance and Art Space in Lafayette, Colorado, about 20 minutes north of downtown Denver. I was last here about a year ago, and much has changed since those days, those far-off days. Some not for the best, other things definitely for the best. Time moves on. And it's an amazing ride. So here is a little love song. I don't have many love songs up my sleeve, but I do have a few. And this is one of them. This is called I'm Amazed. I'm Amazed. I don't need the mountains. I don't need the trees. I don't need the splendor of the sun that shines on me. I don't need the treasures buried out at sea. I don't need the lovely gardens of antiquity. I've traveled far, all that I've seen left me cold, twisted and scarred. Nothing could move in my soul. But I'm amazed by your love when I gaze in your eyes. I hope it stays with me now and all the days of my life. Dreams claw at me in the night. They whisper of tragedies not yet come to light. We must hold on to these precious times when I'm here by your side and you are by mine. Everywhere I go, wonder is all that I see. Better than the mountains, better than the trees, better than the splendor of the sun that shines on me. Better than the treasures buried out at sea. Better than the mighty temples of antiquity. I'm amazed by your love when I gaze in your eyes. I hope it stays with me now and all the days of my life. 'Cause I'm amazed by your love when I gaze in your eyes. I hope it stays with me now and all the days of my life. Thanks, everybody. It's a wonderful experience to play for a silent audience. It doesn't happen very often. And it's a bit like doing a theatre piece because there's not even any applause during the songs. And it just makes me feel that you're so impressed that you have nothing to say, nothing to add to the performance. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. This is the Muse Performance Space, and I'm Rupert Waits. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Why not? We have time. We're going to spend an hour or so together. Rupert. First name. Rupert. One of those names that says, I'm not from around here. But that's okay, it kind of helps to set me apart a bit. Second name is Waits. W-A-T-E-S. So the whole thing reads Rupert Waits. Well, the question is, what does Rupert wait for? Well, he waits for success. But now that I've played the Muse performance space, I'm still waiting for success. You know I'm joking. Life is like a long introduction. This is called Waiting to Begin. Waiting to begin. When I was a little boy, the world was like a Christmas toy. Life a game that I was sure to win, and I'm still waiting to begin. Work hard and get ahead. In time all things will come, they said. That was only so much spin, and I'm waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. I'm waiting to begin. I'm still waiting to begin. I never crossed the starting line. The race has left me far behind. I'm no longer in my prime. Still the siren voices sing. They're calling from the promised land, stolen from me by some sleight of hand. Life's a shadow of the one that I planned, until I find the real thing. I'm waiting to begin. Still waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. I'm still waiting to begin. Days come and go, and all I really know is that I'm slowly getting older. No more time to waste, time to join the race. It's already halfway over. Let me do all that I intend. I'm gonna give all that I had to spend. The road is rushing towards the end, but I'm waiting to begin. I'm waiting to begin. Still waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. I'm still waiting to begin. Thank you. Waiting to begin. Would like to say thank you to Claire, who's running the sound this evening, and also Pete, who is not here this evening, but is here in spirit. In between them, they run the Muse Performance Space, which is a wonderful performance space just north of Denver. Well worth checking out if you haven't already been here. And I hope you will come and visit, either virtually or in person. Again, if you're here this evening, please come back to the Muse Performance Space. So this is one of my oldest songs. I wrote this about 25 years ago now, when I was a very young man of about 3 years of age, give or take. And perhaps this song has weathered better than I have, put it like that. It's been covered by quite a few other people, recorded by quite a few other people, which is always very nice for me. So it's one of those songs that has a continuing life, which is the thing that you most desire for your work as a songwriter, that it will kind of go on past you, as it were. It will outlive you. This is one of those songs which has been picked up by several other people. And it has a certain relevance which never seems to go out of style, shall we say. Its relevance is always there, because it's about looking ahead to the light, which is just over the brow of the next hill, just past, or just on the edge of that thundercloud that is coming up fast. Looking towards the light and thinking about the time to come, which will be better than the present. When the rain has gone, and you look out when the rain is over and you see things shining and glittering and beckoning, full of promise. This is about that moment. So even though I wrote this 25 years ago, it has a certain topical relevance today, because we're going through a very difficult period, as I'm sure you would agree. And all we can see is rain and dark cloud. Even on a beautiful day like this, it still seems to be raining in our hearts. This is called After the Rains. After the Rains. eagle shakes his feathers dry after the rains are gone, makes his home the wide blue sky after the rains are gone, and colors waiting to amaze are open to the gentle rays of the day to come after the rains are gone. And we will walk in clearer lights after the rains are gone, and we will see with clearer sights after the rains are gone. And when the rain dries on our cheeks to leave us on our mountain peak, then we will hear our vision speak. After the rains are gone, far from the thunder's reach, we'll hear a different song, love calling each to each, and through the mist of joy and pain, the morning bird will sing again, although the night was long. And if no trace of us remains to say we walked in love's domain, his will be our song after the rains are gone. The eagle shakes her feathers dry after the rains are gone, makes her home the clear blue sky after the rains are gone, after the rains are gone. Thank you. Hey, thanks, folks. So, I want to give you some more news about myself. Big change that happened in the last year. I was last here in July of 2019. We just discovered that my partner was pregnant with our very first child. And so here we are a year later, and our little boy is now 4 months old. A young fellow called Gabriel, very musical. He smiles a great deal, and we think that he knows something that we don't. We're hoping that he's going to share his wisdom with us very soon. So I've been writing a lot of songs about him, and perhaps this is the time to mention the other birth that has taken place in recent months, which is that of my new CD called Lamentations. Lamentations. It's available for purchase on my website. My website is rupertwaitesmusic.com, and there's a Buy Music page on which you can buy my new CD, Lamentations. It's full of songs about my new son, Gabriel. This is a song that I wrote in January of this year, when things are kind of turning round. The old year is passing into the new one. And I was thinking that here in life we meet and pass again, and none of us are here for very long. And sooner or later I'll have to explain to my little son, Gabriel, that the people he loves will one day leave him, and that's a very difficult thing to explain to anybody, let alone someone you love, and let alone a young child. So this is the image that came into my mind. It was that of a carousel at a carnival. So this is a song called the Carnival Waltz. The Carnival Waltz. All the pretty horses go round and round, painted in their colors so gay, prancing and dancing while the music plays. And so many people are standing in line, waiting take a ride. Some may be happy and some may be hurting inside. As long as the wheel keeps turning, we'll watch them all go by. Some say hello and some are waving goodbye. For every face that is passing from us, another will always come round. And all we've lost someday will surely be found. Round and around they go, round and around they go, round and around they go. All the pretty horses go up and down, painted in their colors so gay, prancing, dancing, while the music plays. Every good friend that we've lost on the way someday will come to the sound, and we're all riding the merry-go-round. Round and around we go, round and around we go, round and around we go. Thank you. The Carnival Waltz. So I'm going to continue with some songs from my new CD, which was released only 1 week ago. And you can get it online at rupertwaitesmusic.com. Also, if you're wondering how to make donations this evening, excuse me just one moment. If you're wondering how to make donations this evening, there is a link on the page which Claire has created for this evening, and all donations go to the venue, as is usually the case, and then we split it up in a way that is very, very advantageous to me. You'll be glad to know. So thank you to Claire for that very generous deal. This is the title song of my new CD. Came up with this title about a year ago. It's called Lamentations. Little did I know that 1 year later that title would have a whole new significance, because there are many reasons these days to be lamenting, although there are also many reasons to be celebrating, of course. This is called Lamentations. Once I was lovely, once I was young, once I rejoiced in the light of the sun. Once the pure water flowed straight to my well. Now I sing lamentations to heaven and hell. The keys of the kingdom were thrown at my feet. A table was laden with all I could eat. Now I beg them to feed me through the bars of a cell, and I sing lamentations to heaven and hell. Lord, if you're listening from so far away, to all the dim voices that whisper and pray, show us your mercy, tell us all shall be well, while we sing lamentations from heaven or hell. Once I was golden, once I was young, and I danced in the light of the moon and the sun. Now I've grown weary at the sound of the bell, and I sing lamentations to heaven and hell, and I sing lamentations to heaven or hell. Thank you. So here's yet another song from my new CD, which I will keep mentioning this evening because I'm hoping to sell it, called Lamentations. It's available at rupertmatesmusic.com on the Buy Music page. Well, I was asked to write this song originally as part of a compilation CD which some friends of mine were putting together. And they wanted the theme of the CD to be the highways of America, because they knew that as a musician, I know all about the highways of America, or at least I used to. Before this pandemic began, I was doing about 50,000 miles every year in my car, just in America alone. So I know all about the highways and byways of America. And they wanted me to write a kind of a love song to my favorite highway. So I regret to say that my favorite highway is not the I-70, beautiful though it is, and beautiful though Denver is. One of my favorite highways anyway is Highway number 1 in California. Goes down the coast, you probably know it. So this is my love song to Highway 1. This is called California 1. Heading out on Highway 1, heading out, say you'll come with me, just you and me. Down the coast she rolls and winds, while the California sunlight shines on the sea. I can feel the mountain breeze, hear it singing through the redwood trees. I can taste the sweet, sweet wine, see the ocean move to its own time. Waves are breaking in the sun, I'm going where the endless rivers run. Oh, how they run on California 1. While we are standing still, time just advances over those blue, blue hills. Life surely dances. So much we lose and spill, wasting our chances to be free. I can feel the mountain breeze, hear it singing through the redwood trees. can taste the sweet, sweet wine, see the ocean move to its own time. I'm heading out on Highway 1, heading out if you'll only come. And we've just begun on California 1. California 1. California 1. So as I mentioned at the start of that song, that was originally destined for a CD about the highways of America, but in fact that CD never happened, so it ended up on my latest CD, which is called Lamentations. So this is another song that I wrote for my newborn son, Gabriel. Gabriel is his name. One of the most musical of all the angels is Gabriel. Anyway, one of the things that I've learned over the years, I like to think anyway, is that the material things of life are all well and good and wonderful and beautiful, but it's the spirit that counts. It's the things that you can't quantify, that you can't put on paper, that really make life worth living. That's imagination, empathy, compassion, beauty, love, dare I say it. These are the things that make life worth living. It's been said before, but I will say it again. And that's the lesson that I would like Gabriel to learn, amongst the many other lessons that I'm sure he will learn in time. This is the song that expresses that wish. This is called And You Shall Have the World. They may come to you with the promises, they may offer you fool's gold, they may lead you to the marketplace where precious jewels are bought and sold. Don't believe the lies they tell you, for their hearts are mean and cold. Put no faith in what they sell you when they bargain for your soul. Then when they've stolen from you all you've ever owned, you will find a truer pearl. Take the hand of the one you love, and you shall have the world. Fix not your eye then on the morning sun, that quickly turns to rain. Grieve not for the passing time, or the silver moon that wanes. Reap the harvest that they bring you, and every loss will be your gain. Remember these, the words I sing you, when nothing else of me remains. When time is stolen from you all you've ever owned, you will find a truer pearl. Take the hand of the one you love, and you shall have the world. Look in the eyes of the one you love, and you shall have the world. And you shall have the world. And you shall have the world. You shall have the world. So swapping guitars again here in a desperate attempt to keep you interested. That's my baritone guitar for those of you who collect this kind of information. So I am an immigrant. I am not American born, as you will already have noticed, and I became an American citizen In May of 2018, I went down to Federal Plaza in New York City and stood to attention, raised my right hand, and I took the oath of allegiance to the US Constitution. I'm now a citizen of this country. And there was a man who was, excuse me one moment. There was a man who was giving a speech that day. He was some kind of federal official. I don't know what his role exactly was, but he made a very nice point. He was actually quoting Ronald Reagan, rather to my surprise, because Ronald Reagan, in my opinion, was not known for his preference for immigrants, but I might be wrong there. Anyway, Reagan said, apparently, you can go to Germany and you can get a German passport, but you will never be a German. You can go to Italy and you can get an Italian passport. You will never be Italian. You come to America, you get an American passport, and you are an American. And that's as true now as it ever was. So here's to the immigrants of America. This is for you. This is for the immigrants who actually built America. This is called Fields of America. These are the fields that once were America, turned by immigrant plows. These are the fields they lived and loved in and made their vows. Some went to war to fight for America, and they never came home. Some gave their lives to the fields of America, and it keeps their bones. These are the streets that once were America, built by immigrant hands. These bricks and stones speak of the memory of every laboring man. Higher they climbed as they reached for their better life, their glittering prize. These are the towers they raised in America until they touched the skies. In the fields of America, the ghost of an immigrant haunts every churchyard wall. And the streets of America ring to the echo of the days when it welcomed them all. This is the dream that once was America, paid for with blood and tears. These are the treasures we fought and died for so many years. These are the fields we gave to America, turned by our immigrant plows. These are the streets we paved in America, but where is America now? Where is America now? Fields of America. So obviously, was it in May of this year? Yes, it was May, just after Memorial Weekend. The country was riven by unrest and horrified by the sight of a police officer kneeling on the neck of a defenseless black man. And that has given rise to large numbers of protests all over the country, as I'm sure you are aware. Well, I wrote this particular song about 14 years ago now, was it? No, 12 years ago. 12 years ago I wrote the song. But it commemorates an event that took place 14 years ago, the fall of 2006, in Queens of New York City. A man named Sean Bell was leaving a nightclub with some friends of his, whereupon he was shot 50 times at very close range by undercover police officers who mistakenly thought he was going for his weapon. Same old story. And of course, he wasn't even armed, neither was George Floyd. So this is a timeless kind of a theme, I suppose, and this is my attempt to tackle that theme. We hear about it far too often. The names are different, but the story remains the same. This is called 50 Shots. 50 Shots. It was down at Juanita's place on Jamaica Avenue, where the dealers count their ground. drinking at the bar as his wedding day began. On stage, the topless girls were dancing in the lights, and the coke was changing hands. Now Jimmy liked an ounce or two, but he never packed a gun. 50 shots will kill a man, and I can still hear the sirens. I never will forget the screams, and I see the blood in all my dreams. I used to be afraid of gunfire, I'm getting used to it now. 50 shots can kill a man. Ask the cops in Queens, they'll show you how. All night the undercover heat had been staking out the club, working hard to make their score. They put the mark on Jimmy, 'cause they didn't like his face, and they tailed him out the door. The cop's nervous, he thinks maybe Jimmy was carrying a piece, and he yells, "Show me your hands." Well, Jimmy makes a sudden move, the cop reacts too fast. 50 shots have killed a man. And there were flowers on the altar table, and Jimmy's bride-to-be was waiting at the church with all her family. But she's put away the ring he bought her, she won't be wearing it now. 50 shots can kill a man. Ask the cops in Queens, they'll show you how. The jury found the officers had fired in self-defense, and they let them all walk free. But the story isn't over yet, and blood will have blood, as anyone with eyes can see. So now we're loading up, we're gonna even up the score, and we'll end what they began, and we'll take those mothers with me if I get blown away. 50 shots will kill a man. I want to see the morning sunrise coming over that hill, but you know I never will. I used to be afraid of gunfire, I'm getting used to it now. 50 shots can kill a man. Ask the cops in Queens to show you. 50 shots can kill a man. Ask the cops in Queens, they'll show you how. Thank you. That was 50 shots. So I'd like to tell you all about a wonderful organisation which is full of hope, because it's time for some hope in our lives, I'm sure you will agree. Full of hope and faith in humanity, which can be in short supply at times. This particular organisation, run by a very good friend of mine, it's designed to help young girls who are going through difficulties with their self-image, in particular problems with their weight. And it aims to help these young girls love themselves as they are, accept themselves as they are, and not how the world would like them to be. This particular organisation is called Realise Your Beauty, run by a very lovely person called Stacey Merkel. And I advise you to check it out online, realiseyourbeauty.org, particularly if you know some teenagers who are troubled and struggling to find themselves. Well, I wrote this particular song. Excuse me, just one moment. I wrote this particular song to celebrate Realize Your Beauty. And I envisaged a young girl who lived on a desert island where there was no Facebook, and no Twitter, and no Instagram, and no one ever came to visit her. It sounds wonderful in a way. And even though no one ever came to visit her on her desert island, she decided she was going to make it a beautiful place. So this is called The Ballad of a Brown-Eyed Girl. She was a young girl with eyes of brown, lived 3 days all alone on an island, where the wind and the rain made a pitiful sound, and the sun and the sea endlessly pound the rocks on the shore and the white sand. On the first day she wrote with a stick in the sand words of welcome to all passing sailors. But as evening fell on the very same day, the tide coming in washed her words away, while the light of the moon grew paler. On the second day she stood at her window and sang a beautiful song to the morning, but no one was there on her island to hear, and the beautiful song that she sang disappeared in the sound of the rain that kept falling. On the third day she woke and she planted the seed of a rose that would bloom in her garden. But the sun beat down and it withered the rose, for she'd chosen a place where no river flows, in a land that never gives pardon. And though none ever read what she wrote in the sand, or heard what she sang from her window, and though the rose that she planted died in her hand, for 3 days the cruel world was a lovelier land, for the brown-eyed girl had made it so. She was a young girl with eyes of brown, lived 3 days all alone on an island, where the wind and the rain make a pitiful sound, and the sun and the sea endlessly pound the rocks on the shore and the white sand. Thank you, everybody. Ballad of a Brown-Eyed Girl. So we're going to continue the theme of strong women. And this is another little song that I wrote based on a true story. Based on a true story. This story took place back in 1932. You have to excuse me for a moment while I have a drink of water. Thank you so much. The story took place back in 1932 at the height of the Dust Bowl Depression. Here in America, in the Southwest, in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, parts of Colorado, there were dust clouds, tornadoes, hurricanes on a daily basis, blotting out the sun and the sky for days at a time. It's a terrifying time to be alive. And at the same time, it was also the height of the Great Financial Depression, the mother of all depressions, as it's sometimes called. which began in 1929 with the crash on Wall Street. By 1932, about a quarter of the adult male population was out of work, and the worldwide recession had begun. A difficult time to be alive, but they were tough people. They were the pioneers out there in the Midwest, or the far southwest, in fact. They got through it with the help of some government programs and a lot of willpower. When I read this particular story, which is a true story, it struck me how much we owe to the women of that period. The strong women who really kept the show on the road. So this is a sort of a hymn to the strong women of America for saving us so many times when we needed you, by helping us to believe that tomorrow would be better than today. We need that now more than ever, let's face it. So here's to the women of America. This is for you. This is my song based on a true story. It concerns a poor family who made their way across America on foot during the days of the Dust Bowl. This is called Days of Mercy. Daddy lost his job one day when he wouldn't take a cut in pay. He couldn't find another place, even one that paid him less. So he settled into his easy chair with his dog-eared magazines until the bank took back our house. And my mama only screamed when she was a little girl. She had a dream she found a pearl hidden in the pocket of her pants, but the pants were full of holes, and when she woke the pearl was gone, and she was only 6 years old. Hold on tight, my mama said, and keep your eyes upon the sun. Faith in the road ahead, the days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. So we sold up all we owned. We headed east in a touring car. We found a place with a plot of land down in windy Arkansas. My daddy worked on the lady's farm, but my mama heard it said he didn't work that lady's fields as much as he worked her bed. So she packed a cardboard case with a single change of clothes and took the baby on her hip, told us all to follow close, and we began the long walk home to the California coast. Hold on tight, my mama said, and keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith in the road ahead. The days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. When I fainted in the heat of the Oklahoma sun, Mama led me to a stream, dipped a cloth to bathe my head. We walked all through New Mexico, and in a migrant workers' camp, I learned all there was to know about the kindness of the poor. And though the children dressed in rags, they gave us everything they had. Bags of sweets with ready smiles, fresh tortilla around the fire, in the huts of rusty iron. When the baby started crying, hold on tight, my mama said, and keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith in the road ahead. Days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. So we finally reached L.A. Beside a lake in Lincoln Park, a man was standing all alone, throwing crumbs to feed the ducks. When are you gonna take those children home? Asked the man, and my mama said, we just walked 2,000 miles, we'll make it yet with a little luck. And then the man just looked away. He said he guessed his turn had come. He pulled out $2 bills, enough to see us right, for a can of pork and beans and some shelter for the night. Hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun. Faith in the road ahead, the days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. Hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith in the road ahead. Days of mercy will surely come. when the world is blown apart. In the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. On a top, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun, put your faith in the road ahead. Days of mercy will surely come when the world is blown apart. In the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. Hey everybody, thanks. That was Days of Mercy. So I'd like to do another little song about a charismatic woman, a rather lonely lady as it turned out. This also is a true story, excuse me, a song based on a true story. Took place in the late 1940s in one of the lonelier Midwestern states. In those days there was a goods train, or a passenger train I should say, that used to run from the Pacific all the way to Milwaukee. They called it the Old Milwaukee. And a lady, this particular lady I'm thinking of, would lie awake at night listening to the sound of the train as it passed in the distance. And as Paul Simon has said, there's something very nostalgic and romantic about the sound of a train passing in the night. And she began to evolve a romantic fantasy in her mind about the men who worked on the train, the handsome driver and the conductor and the man who worked in the mailroom. She was obviously a lonely lady. So I decided to write, when I read her story, I decided to write a song for all lonely people. And this is called Miss Burgoyne and the Old Milwaukee. Now the time lies heavy on my hands. I often walk beside the place where the old Milwaukee Railroad used to pass. The tracks all torn up long ago. A few planks are left from the old depot, scattered among the weeds and the prairie grass. And in my mind a figure still sits on a platform in gathering dusk, in the clothes they made before the First World War, waiting alone for the train to arrive in a fury of steam and whistle blows. The conductor holding open the carriage door. The conductor holding open the carriage door. Her name was Edith behind her back. To her face she was Miss Burgoyne, and she lived with her parents in a modest bungalow, teaching piano to the neighborhood kids, 50 cents an hour to listen and smile as we stumbled through our scales and arpeggios. And whether it was her Every Reserve or her spinster's clothes or her foreign name or her college degree class in 1928, but whenever we ran out of games to play, we could always laugh at Miss Burgoyne and some of her stranger personality traits. Some of her stranger personality traits. It was in the summer of 35, as I recall, when the change began, and Edith first boarded the Milwaukee train. A 10-minute ride to the next stop on the line, and ere she'd descend and come a rain or shine, she'd walk 5 miles home again. 3 times a week, each week for a year, she rode the train alone, but why? None of us could ever understand. But I heard it said by others who were there, the conductor was a handsome man. He was a brown-eyed and very handsome man. So the years flew by and Edith's parents died, and she sold up and moved away to Iowa. The rumor went with a married man, and others said she died alone in bitterness and poverty on a barren farm with intractable land. But in my mind a figure still sits on a platform in gathering dusk, in the clothes they made before the First World War, waiting alone for the train to arrive in a fury of steam and whistle blows, and the conductor holding open the carriage door. The conductor holding open the carriage door. I'm going to do a non-original song, everybody, now, just because you're such a lovely audience, and I know you've been dying to hear one. This is written by one of my favourite guitarists, Leo Kottke. It's one of his instrumentals. This is called The Fisherman, written by Leo Kottke. This is the only non-original tune of this evening, The Fisherman by Leo Kottke. So we've got time for maybe just a couple more songs. I want to say thank you again to the Muse Performance Space for so generously inviting me to come in and play for you this evening. Thanks to everybody who's been listening. Please, please make a donation to the Muse Performance Space, and we will divvy up the swag as soon as the show is over. Please buy a CD at rupertwaitesmusic.com. Now, those CDs do have nutritional value, because if you buy one of my CDs, I will eat, so bear that in mind. Here's a song which expresses the hope that we will all come together through all these, in spite of all the barriers and divisions and enmities that are keeping us apart right now, we will come together again and soon. This is a song called Prayer. Let's take a moment to think about people we know and love who might be in need of a prayer this evening. There's always too many. So this is called Prayer. It goes out for everybody who doesn't have a prayer. Here's to you and here's to me, here's to all we've ever seen, to all to come and all that's been. Here's to all we've ever shared, to our fathers and to our heirs, to all people everywhere. Haven't got a prayer. Here's to the young and here's to the old, to the body and to the soul, to all whose stories are still untold. Here's to the lightness and here's to the weight, to the gay and to the straight, to all who die too soon or were born too late. Here's to our enemies and here's to our friends, to the river that never ends. Here's to the sinners and here's to the born again. Here's to the black and here's to the white, to the left and to the right. Here's to the evening and here's to the morning light coming into sight. And to the rich and to the poor, here's to the sea and here's to the shore. Here's to all people everywhere, when they haven't got a prayer, 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 when they haven't got a prayer. Here's to the cop and here's to the priest, to the west and to the east. Here's to all they bring to the feast. Here's to the lion and here's to the lamb. Here's to the beast and the heart of man. Here's to the house on rock and the house on sand. Here's to the heart and to the head, to the living and to the dead. Here's to the joy and to the tears we shed. Here's to the first and here's to the last, to the future and to the past. Here's to all who've ever raised the glass anytime we asked. To the moon and to the sun, to all we lost, all we've won. Here's to all people everywhere, when you haven't got a prayer, 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 when you haven't got a prayer. So everybody, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks to the Muse Performance Space, to Claire and Pete for hosting us this evening. Come back to the Muse Performance Space. My name is Rupert Waits. My website is rupertwaitsmusic.com. Keep coming back to hear live music, whether it's online or in person. Musicians need you now more than ever. So here's to you all. Thanks for listening, and good night. Thank you. Thank you. Is that okay?